Basic incident causation theory. Incidents occur when barriers fail to prevent the things that can cause harm to escalate to undesirable consequences. The barriers can be of different types, for example, related to design, systems, procedures, equipment, etc. The barriers are put in place and kept in place by people with the competence to do so, in line with standards and specifications. Incidents happen when people make errors and fail to keep the barriers functional or in place. For example, people doing the wrong thing, or people not doing what they should do. Human behaviour theory. When trying to understand why a person has done something incorrectly, people often explain it as simply human error, or as part of their personality. This is unhelpful and often wrong. To learn from the consequences of the actions of other people and to understand why they took such actions, it is necessary to look at the bigger picture, that is, a system perspective. There is a human behaviour model which helps to explain why people act the way they do. In incidents, people have usually acted the way they intended. They just didn't get the consequences they expected. A person's mental plan wasn't clear or ill-conceived, resulting in a mistake and/or a violation. A barrier was broken and an incident happened. However, some actions that are based on the right plan also go wrong. These we call slips and lapses. A slip is when people intend to do one action but perform another one instead. When people forget to do something, this is called a lapse. Slips, lapses and mistakes are usually categorized as human error. Everybody suffers from lapses and slips. Often their likelihood is increased by situations that negatively affect human functioning. Examples are tiredness, lighting and noise levels, and sudden changes to routines. Usually these situations are the result of someone else's ill-conceived plan. To reduce the likelihood of incidents, the focus should be on ill-conceived plans, because they cause barriers to fail directly through mistakes and violations. Indirectly, they create situations in which slips and lapses are more likely to happen, or result in systems in which a lapse or slip cause the last remaining barrier to fail. So, intentions and plans form the basis for our acts and behaviour, our human errors. Understanding how people develop the intention or plan is therefore essential to understand and combat incidents. Often it isn't realised that the creation of a mental plan is actually how the brain works. Before an intention to act can be formed, the brain needs to ask 3 simple questions about gap, outcome and power. The gap question. Is there a gap between the current situation and how the person wants it to be? The outcome question. What's in it for me? Will it be beneficial? Will I get a reward or recognition? Will I be disciplined if I don't follow the rules? Is it more fun or pleasant, etc.? The power question. Does the person have the ability to make something happen? Is it within that person's power to start it and complete it? Answers to these simple questions are always based on people's perceptions of the world and their beliefs about how the world works, rather than facts. In hindsight, best intentions can be wrong. In every incident, people thought they were doing the right thing, based on their beliefs and perceptions at the time. For them, their perceptions are their reality. Let's look at the answers in a simple example of somebody spotting an unsafe act that could result in a person seriously injuring himself. Gap. Potential for an incident. Outcomes when intervening. A warm thank you for pointing out the hazard. Satisfaction of having prevented injury. Frustration if intervention isn't appreciated or effective. Outcomes when not intervening. Bad feelings when an incident happens that could have been prevented. Comments by others that you should have intervened. Power. Do I have the ability to make something happen? Yes, I'm sure that the potential for an incident is high. And I have intervened before. Or, no, I feel that I'm not senior enough to intervene effectively. Or, I don't have the competence to fully assess whether this isn't safe. Because people are basically social animals, past experiences and contacts with other people have a major influence on the way they currently act. Family, friends and many others make up the influencing environment, which through our past experiences affects our beliefs and perceptions and hence how we act. It leads people to act the way they do, believing they are doing something that is acceptable. Within a work environment, colleagues and supervisors have a strong influence. People's experiences with them and previous bosses, so what they say and do, affects perceptions, which indirectly but significantly influences the way people act at work. For an incident investigation, the whole system in which a person is working needs to be understood. For example, if someone breaks a rule, the reason why must be understood. We know their past experiences led to their beliefs about what they should do. So the question should be asked, what was the role of others in the influencing environment? Let's quickly think about an incident that has already happened. A mechanic loses part of his foot when the winch he was repairing started to rotate. Gap. The winch needed to be repaired quickly. Outcome. He expected to be commended for a quick repair of essential equipment. Power. He was a good mechanic and had worked like that before. People can see themselves in this influencing environment either as management, a colleague, a supervisor, or direct report. This means that everyone had a role to play in the overall system, which led to the person acting the way they did. To prevent incidents, it's necessary to look deeper to understand exactly why someone did what they did, and not just stop at blaming a person's attitude. What is your influence on the perceptions and beliefs of the people around you?